No doubt that stand-up comedy has been bigger than it is right now than it has been in decades. Comedians, they're selling out arenas, launching up podcasts, doing Netflix, and some of the most influential voices in America are your comedians.
But are comedians actually funnier today? Or are they just better at marketing themselves?
Let's do OPINIONish. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of OPINIONish. I am Mitch English.
Hey, I'm Travis.
Yeah, you can say your last name. It's fine.
Travis Dale.
And to remind everybody, that is not just like your middle name. That's like your real name.
I have three names. Yeah, all three of my names are names. My last name's a name, and my first name's a name. My middle name is Travis.
In that Jim Croce song, didn't he have? I have a name.
I have a name.
Yeah.
I have three names.
My first and middle name are two names.
English is not.
No, Mitch, and then my middle name is
English
Andrew.
is a language, you idiot.
Like Mitch, I can go by Mitch Andrew.
Yeah,
or Andrews.
Mick England overseas. That's what they call him, Mickey England.
So I got a job out in San Diego. It was right after I left the Daily Buzz, and I got an executive producer job, and I was real excited about it, and I was ready to move through. And they were kind of like a little bit, a bigger corporation kind of thing. And when I got there, they said, they had a big sign that said, "Everyone, please welcome the executive producer of Good Morning San Diego, Mike England." And I left it up there for the longest time.
Everybody, you introduce yourself as Mike.
Mike England. I go, it's actually Mitch English, but I was Mike England for a while. It only lasted a year there.
I like that name on you,
Mike England. So that's that. It is Mitch English on that. Which so far on a episode based on comedy, we're not doing so well.
No, I mean, but you've had a good run as Mitch English. You know what? Could you turn around for me? Me? Something caught my eye. Yeah. Can you spin around? I don't know if the camera can catch it.
All right. Well, here, hold on. Is there something?
You just got something on the back of your head.
Okay.
So. It looks okay. You can freeze right there, and now look. Yeah, it looks like you have a smiley face on the back of your head.
Holy crap! Look at I did. Look.
No, right there. Yeah, you look like you smile.
There's an eye.
Or like
an eye, and then the
like a little V shape. Yeah. Did you do that on purpose, or your hair changing color that way?
But that is so weird. You see it?
You can walk around backwards, and yeah. I'll just talk to this guy. Hey, you look nice. You look like a nice guy.
Why didn't my wife ever tell me? Why have I walked around that long having that on the back of my head and nobody ever say anything to me?
I had never noticed it until now, but it actually kind of goes into, I don't know what we're talking about. What are we doing, Mitch? What are we even doing here?
Well, there's a.
What are we even doing?
What are we even doing here?
That was actually going to be the title. What I wanted the title of this podcast to be.
We workshopped it and come to find out that we can't use it
because
I believe there's another name already.
So it's already taken by actor Kyle MacLachlan. He's from Dune, Twin Peaks, Fallout.
Twin Peaks. And he's also Portlandia. Did you ever watch him on Portlandia?
Yeah.
I loved him on Portlandia.
He's great. And so he's been hosting this What Are We Even Doing podcast. And if that isn't enough, apparently he also has a deep, long-standing friendship with one Mr. Chris Noth. I'm not joking.
You're a liar.
I don't think they've been in any projects together, but they've been in the biz for a while, so they're clearly friends.
Is it like, what do you call it, the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon?
Yeah,
I think somehow you're related to him?
I think it's Chris Noth now. He's the guy.
I've said that so many times. How is everything with the Chris Noth
fan club? The Nothings.
Being Nothings.
Yeah. Well, I mean, apparently Kyle MacLachlan is president. I didn't even know that we had an election, but he's maybe the original Nothing because he's got it all. He's got our podcast name. He's got a buddy-buddy relationship with Chris Noth. Maybe we should start watching his podcast, take some notes.
I like that idea. We also have one of them comedians on the show today, and he'll be joining us a little bit momentarily. So if I get somewhere halfway between talking and I go, hey, we got somebody, this will be our first guest that is logging in through our space age technology. I find this extremely, I don't know what's the right word for it. Like, I feel like we discovered Chris Noth.
Yes.
And we're not sure still if it's Noth or Noth, but to know that there is a connection with Kyle MacLachlan and a podcast that we were going to name it, right?
It's kind of kismet if you really think about it. And now I'm not a gatekeeper of Chris Noth. I want the world to appreciate this man and his catalog of films, which I actually was watching on Tubi the other night.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I checked one out with the family. There was one called The Perfect Man, has Hilary Duff in it, and Heather Locklear.
And he would be the perfect man, I'm certain, right?
I mean, I think he's typecast, obviously. They cast him for a reason.
He has to be. He has to be. Okay, so, and that's on Tubi right now. Folks can find it anywhere on Tubi.
Yeah.
Now, can they find our podcast on Tubi?
Not yet, but we're working on it.
We are working fervently to make sure this happens. And Tubi, if you're out there listening, with all of the free advertising we've been giving you, I think there's at least maybe like just one episode you could put on Tubi for us.
Yeah, all you got to do is stream a show.
Yeah.
It's free, and it counts down when the ads are coming. It lets you know so you can mute it.
So you don't have to sit there and, how long? I don't want to watch 12 minutes of commercials.
Yeah, you can go to the bathroom. You can go make a margarita. You can go walk your dog.
You do both at the same time, too.
Yeah.
I like that idea. And that, of course, all found on Tubi, where you can also find Chris Noth. Not 100% sure if we could find Kyle MacLachlan, but it would be nice if we could.
Yeah, but they got a great library, great collection of movies, a lot of comedy movies.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of matches your haircut for today. Very
With
pro.
my smiley face head that I
Yeah.
have, which I never even realized. Where? Can you see it?
I see it. It's freaking me out. Can you turn around?
This is, I did not make this up. I just, look at that. It's so weird. Eyeball, mouth. And you just noticed it.
Yeah.
Why are you looking at the back of my head all the time?
It's freaking me out. And it's actually the front side is a little bit worse, but I'm going to bear with it.
Wait, let's do this. Hold on. Let's do this. Wait, hold on.
You put the glasses on? Yeah. Hi, that's Mick. That's Mick England.
I'm Mike Carey. Look at me.
Mike
I'm
England.
Bruce Valanche. I'm Bruce Valanche. Let me write you a joke for the Oscars.
Man, so we're talking about comedies today, right?
Yeah.
Because you're a funny guy.
Much more highbrow comedy.
We
than
have
that.
fun.
I think, comedy is, and a comedian is the hardest job people don't realize, because it's the one emotion that you can't make somebody have. I mean, like if you showed like their parents dying or whatever,
you'll get,
they're going to have some kind of emotion attached to it. But it's a one emotion that you can't necessarily always be able to evoke. And then everybody will take it differently as well.
And you've done stand-up before.
I did stand-up I was traveling somewhat, but then when I was on Daily Buzz, I would travel.
The Daily Fluff.
The Daily Flub, which is this show now. I would travel around with our buddy Andy Campbell and Andy.
Big and tall comedy.
Big and tall comedy. And back then I weighed literally 170 pounds more than I did now.
I was the big? Oh.
And Andy was what was he, 6'4"?
6'7".
6'7". He's a tall dude.
That's where it came from, actually.
It
originated with him, yeah.
I did not realize that. And so it was great. Yeah, he and I had a blast traveling around. We would go to different cities. Yeah. And even in some, we did a couple cities, I think, that the show wasn't even on. And we still had fun doing it.
Yeah.
So I think Baltimore we did one time. And we got to go up there, and we did Southwest Florida a few times, and got to travel around a lot of Florida locations as well. Now, made it easy.
What was your act like?
It was the foibles of a dad and a lot of fat jokes at the time,
right?
Because physical comedy, self-deprecation, 100%, and just some observational. I don't think it was hot, like I said, like you would classify it as one of those guys really intelligent. I just love making people laugh. Yeah. And I don't mind being the butt of any jokes. But what was very interesting about it is after I had lost all my weight, I felt like I wasn't funny anymore, because you rely on that. And I wonder how many other comics. Like they use that. And I was talking to some comedians that came by when I was working in San Diego, and they go, dude, they exactly what they said. Why? If you're funny, you're funny, no matter what. And it was something I was like, oh, okay. I go, and he goes, well, and different things have happened to you, so you should be looking at the humor and all those sort of things. And my pacing, the way when I did jokes, it was kind of like left field, non sequitur kind of jokes is where I think a lot of mine. I think I worked on television, and I think I did okay doing stand up. But I'll tell you who is very good at doing stand up. We're about to join. He's about to join us right now. He'll be here now. Is our guest for today. He'll be here in just a second. And he's hopefully good. There he is. Hey, Dustin, can you hear me?
Hey, buddy, I hear you. How do I sound?
You sound fantastic. Thank you for joining us today, bud. We got underway. I was talking about my brief stint as a comedian. Matter of fact, I worked with Dustin at some Sundance parties.
Yes.
and we would wind up in some places where we were like, this is not a good. It would be like, it was a weird situation, but that was not weird for Dustin because the guy was a pro. How are you, man?
It was still weird when the when the whole Osmond family is there. It's still not the best situation for comedy sometimes.
Dustin, that's one thing I did kind of talk about when you're walking into a thing because you got a line of jokes the way you're thinking, and I know the instance that you were talking about, and then all of a sudden you're dealing with the Osmonds out in Sundance. You kind of have to change a little bit.
Big fan, by the
way. We all are, aren't we? And anyone that you can find, you're actually a fan of. But when you go into a room doing a comedy, you have to kind of know where you're at, or do you kind of take it as like, this is who I am, like me or not? Where are you at on that?
Well, hopefully, there's some sort of, conversation before you do the show. So, if you need to be clean or if you have to like tone it down or something, but sometimes you are surprised. And sometimes, you'll just have a bunch of children up front that just came out of nowhere and, things like that. Because, I do a lot of cruise ships and, it's funny because it's family shows, but you still don't expect to see like a row of 9-year-olds. You know what I mean? Like you're never ready for that. Even though you've got a clean set, you're like, I'm going to talk about addiction. I'm going to talk about real stuff. And then there's just a little kid on an iPad, just like, why don't you juggle? Like,
do a magic trick.
Like, just tell me something else. Yeah, it's
I want to hear
something, but
I want to hear more of these stories here. But we got to get the audience to get to know you a little bit. Dustin Chaffin from Kilgore, Texas. I'm going to start with that right there. Kind of tell everybody a little bit about yourself, man.
Okay. Well, rumor has it I was born in a trailer park area of Kilgore, Texas, and Dad made a little money selling fire alarms because they used to be these big metal things they would sell before these kids don't know what the little plastic, fire alarms. They had these big, humongous metal things that he used to sell. That was his thing. And he would sell those from trailer to trailer because you have a lot of fires in trailers because people leave crock pots on. But it was so that happened, and then he ended up moving to Wichita Falls, and he opened a bar that was a biker bar, and then it became something a little more adult, if you know what I mean. And then that was that, and I was a boxer back then. My parents put me into boxing when I was 5 years old. I competed Texas Golden Gloves till about 17. And like, that was, I thought that was going to be the thing. And then till I got knocked out a couple of times, and I was like, I don't think this is probably the thing for me. But then I was kind of an artsy kid, and I went through some beautiful Mormon days and went on the mission and did all that, and went to a little school called BYU Idaho because it's harder to get into. I don't know if you know that one, but Rick's College back in the day.
Rick's, that was the name of it. I remember.
And so, then I ended up going to New York City for art school, and I thought I was going to be a designer or an artist or some sort. And then I had a girlfriend who had a friend who worked at a comedy club, and he was like this up-and-coming comic, Pete Corielli, and he and I became friends. And then he was a busboy at a comedy club. And he said, hey, can you cover me or whatever? Because I'd done just maybe 2 or 3 mics, my open mics. And then, I took over. And the next thing you know, I'm like cooking mozzarella sticks and wings and cleaning the club for stage time. They would pay you like $1, a sandwich or a hamburger or whatever. But mostly it was about the stage time. So I would get on at the end of the show right before the closing comic would come up. They call it the check spot. which is the worst spot in comedy. It's basically, you know, that point when nobody's paying attention and they're just looking at the bill and thinking, why did I get overcharged? That's when they put me.
The worst part is but do you think that actually helped you because of the fact that you're like, all right, I've got to get their attention somehow?
Absolutely, it helped. That's why I can handle 9-year-olds in the front with their iPad
with
not paying attention to me. But I wouldn't trade it. I was a busboy for. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you know, I was a busboy for about 2 years, and it was like a comedy university. I mean, I would get to, because my whole thing is I hated open mics. Like I probably did a handful of them my entire life. I just can't get up and do comedy in front of other comedians. I just can't do it. And so this was an opportunity for me to be around real comics. Like I got to know Mark Maron, I got to know Todd Barry, I got to know David Tell. Like all these giants would come through, and they were on the the upcome or whatever, but they were still professionals. And so I got to like, you know, connect to these people and stuff. And so yeah, it was amazing. And I would just watch all these amazing comics just night after night, you know, as I'm just like sweeping the club. So it was a beautiful thing. I got to really started everything there.
And do you feel that that almost every comedian has to have that? Or do you feel like, you know, there are some that are given opportunities before they actually should have? And are you appreciative of those days is really what I'm asking.
I mean, I don't know, I guess. I mean, it'd be kind of nice to just, you know, flop on TikTok 2 years in and just become a millionaire. Sure, that'd be nice, but not have to pay all those dues. But no, I think, you know, whatever. It's my journey and I love it. And I think it may be a better comic. You know, I see people that, you know, get it early or whatever. And sometimes it's like their stand-up, you know, they don't have that battlefield tested life of comedy where they're just like, I mean, I did comedy for like, you know, 2 people. I remember at Dangerfields, there was 2 girls in the crowd. And I was on stage, and 3 minutes in, they both went to the bathroom at the same time. So I literally had to wait for them to come back, just talking to myself, just roasting the waiter. You know what I mean? I'm just like, okay.
Follow them in there.
It's like, yeah. If it was a cordless mic, I would have.
Yeah. But, so what is it, number one, number two?
I love all that stuff. Yeah.
Dustin,
I think I've actually done that with a cordless mic.
It has actually paid off for you. You are a nationally touring comedian, opened for Nate Bargatze. That's incredible. But you know, first off, for him to kind of bring you into his realm, it shows the fraternity that comedians actually kind of have. Would you agree with that? Or it's like, hey, this guy fits me, or how did that come about?
Well, I brought him into my world, and I think that's how it worked. You know, it's just like he was a comic that just got to New York City, and he needed stage time. He had no idea what he was doing. I ran a club, and I was like, you can bark for me, which is like handing out flyers for, you know, people to come into the club, and he needed a place to live. So I said, you could stay, you live with me. I got a couple comic roommates. So, you know, like that movie Blindside. Yeah. Yes. I'm Nate Sandra Bullock.
You know, all this time, I never knew that, Dustin. Yeah. I knew that you book other comedians, but I did not know
he talks about it a lot. He gives me props. Yeah.
I love that, man.
There. Yeah. Rogan, a couple places.
I think that's,
but it's like we are a band of brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's what I was going to say, is that there is that really that community, right?
Yeah, and it's the thing is, you gotta curb your ego in comedy. You know, it's just like you never know. You know, he opened for me. We went to Iraq, did a lot of USO tours. He opened for me and stuff. And so you just sometimes your opener is going to be the biggest comic in the world, and sometimes you know whatever. It's like you have to just kind of let people, you know, do what they do. And some people give back and some people don't. And he's very much giving back. And so it's been a lot of fun watching him blossom into this huge comic, and then being able to, you know, perform in front of 20,000 people has been amazing. You know,
and now he's going to have a
big show coming up in Fort Worth, my hometown. Yeah, I mean, it's getting a little out of hand, but you know,
$350 million Nashville theme park.
Wow! Wow!
I mean, you know, that's how big he wants to be. He wants to be roller coaster big. So I'm like, whatever, man.
The new Dolly Parton.
But yeah, it's fun.
And learning about him,
Dolly Parton. He's got a movie coming out.
I don't want to talk all about Nate, though he warrants. I think he's a very funny guy. You know him personally, but you also think about how he, I'm sure, had to pay those dues as well. But then it's all about everybody working for everybody else. And doing those sort of things for each other. Hopefully, he'll
that's the dues I just said.
popcorn or something.
Yeah.
Handing out flyers, exactly. Right, exactly.
That's him paying dues. So.
Well, and I want to talk a little bit about him. He's kind of known as a clean comic, where he can play in front of 9-year-olds on cruise ships all the time and that sort of thing. And that's part of the reason as well. You've done clean. It's not like you're I don't know, what do you call it? Really a blue comic or anything like that. You really, you share a lot of your life with everybody. Is it harder nowadays because...
I don't know, Mitch.
Tell me about that.
I just chase the money, bro.
Do you really? Here I am lifting you up like this is this great guy. No, you pay me, I'll do it.
If you pay me to be clean, I'll be clean. If you pay me to be clean, I'll be clean. But no, I don't claim to be this crystal clean comic. Yeah, but if you pay me, I don't know. I'm kind of one of those comics. I really don't know what's going to happen. But if you put parameters on me, then I will play in that. Like I will, whatever rules that might be, if there's kids, if it's a clean show or whatever, I would definitely do that. I mean, I came, Kinnison was my favorite comic when I was a child, and I George Carlin and Richard Pryor. So I was kind of like, in the mindset when I first started comedy to be this like Bill Hicks and edgy and whatever. So I had to, that was kind of my road. I mean, some of my early stuff is pretty edgy, and I kind of go after, certain things. And then, and I had to kind of convince Nate, we would talk and he'd be like, I don't know, man. It's like, yeah, you're pretty edgy. And I was just like, and I had to kind of convince him. I go, I can do this. I can figure it out. I got Mormon blood in me. I can figure this out. I can be clean. I can find that thing that is funny that doesn't have to be shocking. It doesn't have to be, over the line. I can find stuff. But the thing is with Nate, I think the difference between him and a lot of comedians, he's not a clean comic to me. He's just a comic who happens to be clean. Because a lot of times there's guys that are clean that are, people might deem them as kind of corny or whatever. Like he has very adult themes. He does jokes about getting drunk and being in the hallway with no clothes on. I mean, I don't know if that's for kids, but it's clean in the sense that he's not cursing or being blue, but it's adult stuff. Yeah, and it's adult stuff, but I think I'm leaning towards adult clean, which is what I really want to do more of. I'm working on a new special, and it's going to be geared towards that, where it's going to be heavy stuff, but it's going to be clean material, not about things that are blue or whatever. But it's definitely it's kind of a thing where it's kind of adult clean. I think is a genre I'm going to try to push forward.
You talked about Kinnison and Pryor, Dice Clay, the guys from back in the day are a little bit racy, a lot of controversy surrounding them. You think that could work nowadays, or who do you think picked up that baton?
Yeah, I think the roast, with people like Shane Gillis and the whole Austin scene and that Kill Tony thing and everything. I think, they're definitely trying to do stuff. I mean, we were kind of doing that in 2004. Like, I'm not impressed with some of that stuff. You're like, ooh, you're talking about race. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just not. It's like, I don't know. I think people are trying to push that narrative more than they are to push the funny, where they're trying to shock people and things like that. Well, when you see somebody like Kinnison and those guys, it was coming from pain. It was coming from like a real place. Richard Pryor was talking about all these tragedies he'd been through and addiction and things. It was like real comedy. Now I feel people just want to have these buzz words and things and talk about tragedies and just to get people to talk about it on the internet, just to get some sort of buzz going on. And then everybody's talking about them because they said the thing they shouldn't have said. And I don't know, I'm not a big fan of kind of that direction. I think Shane Gillis is funny, but I think a lot of these guys are, I don't know. I think they're just really trying too hard to be edgy as opposed to coming from like a real place. And I think if you are edgy, it should always, there should be some love in it. It should come from somewhere. Like you need to, if you're gonna, like my whole thing is if I make fun of race, I always make fun of my people as well. It's like I feel like people that, if you're gonna make fun of white people, there's white people.
Fair game.
Yeah, make fun of your squad if you're gonna make fun of the other one. It's like I don't know. It needs to be more give and take with that.
a little balance, and I think that's what comedy is too, is that balance of knowing where to toe the line. I've always said, kind of compared Howard Stern when he was on terrestrial radio to when he's on Sirius. He just kind of went, when he went on satellite, he could say whatever he wanted. And there's something to be said about towing the line that I find in my type of humor, and I think, and if you could take it to that point, to me, that's where all the clever stuff comes up, is how you could say something
navigate around it.
Yeah. And I nowadays, because you have the internet, you have social media, you could say whatever you want and it's not filtered anymore. So I agree with that. And I don't know if that's because of age or whatever, but I do feel that you're more creative when you have rules, which is weird to me to say that, because I don't believe in that. You know what I mean? Are you getting what I'm saying, Dust?
I am getting what you're saying 100%. I just think, and it's not always that. I think there's people that do HBO specials. They have complete freedom, and they're still able to kind of, keep the funny without taking it too far. So, I think it just really depends on, what the comedian's agenda is and, what kind of, I don't know. I feel like somebody like Tony Hinchcliffe didn't really go down the road a lot of us went down. I don't really think he was working the road, because that's the thing. When you're working middle America, it's like you could get up there, be as edgy as you want, and it's like, they're not going to come on board if it's not, something that it's a part of their life or they understand it. And so you learn how to make a broad audience laugh when you work the road. Okay. And so I think a lot of people don't, get that. They just they're famous all of a sudden, and then they just get these huge platforms. And they didn't have to try to entertain a group of 80-year-olds and 9-year-olds or whatever, being, so I think it limits you when your audience is instantly into what you do. I think I don't know. I think it's kind of a false sense of who you are on stage.
So do you feel that social media has kind of hurt comedy, or has it helped comedy out? I mean, it does get somebody's voice out quicker than what days have passed, making it on Carson. But do you think social media has kind of made it where everybody can do it and it becomes homogenized?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because it's definitely grassroots. Like, it's a beautiful thing because you can create an audience, just off of social media, and they'll come out to the clubs and they'll follow you and they'll buy your merch and they'll do all your stuff. And so it is cool because it's this instant audience. Because before it was like Letterman or the Tonight Show. It was like very limited with your exposure. There was so many guys that were so good, and if they didn't get a Tonight Show in 77 back then, it's like nobody knew who they were. And so it was like an instant propel into fame. And so now it's like you have enough followers, you could sell out, like anywhere. And so I think that is good. I'm not a big fan of the clips all the time. I feel like sometimes you're just giving it away. I feel like a lot of comedians, they're always just giving their material away online, and it's just like, I mean, it's like, I think you should tease them a little bit but I think when they come see you, they should know your whole act before they get there, And
you have that one signature thing that you do, and you're like, do you ever have, I don't think that necessarily, I'm sure you've seen this, Dustin, but I don't think you necessarily have one where, like, do Skinner or do, yell out that one. And like, that's not how comedy works. I'm not a trained dog, but I kind of want to get people who don't know much about how stand-up comedy works, kind of take us a little bit through, Dustin, like the what you had to do to get to where you're at. Meaning, like, you're driving your own car, you're going to a city, you're going into a town, maybe on a Tuesday night, and you're going to a club that maybe two chicks are in the audience and that sort of thing. And then the next day you got to do something else. I mean, it's a lot of hard work.
It is a lot of. In the beginning, it's just there's only one goal: kill. You just got to be able to get on stage and kill. That's the first goal when I started. It's like you had to be the best comic in the room. Every time you went on stage, you just had to crush. And New York City is this like Thunderdome for comedy. It's like you have to be great on stage or everybody will make fun of you. And so all the comics will just trash you for bombing. But once you figure that out, like, I can kill, I can make the whole audience laugh, I can just crush this set. And then once you do that, people take notice. And that's with me, people like a bigger comic would be like, hey, man, you're really funny. You want to go on the road. And then in the beginning, you just take everything. You take every Elks Lodge. You take every, benefit in Long Island. You take every, college bookstore gig. That's always fun when they just give you a microphone and kids are just trying to buy books and you're trying to do your comedy in the corner next to the chemistry book section. And you're just so it's like you just take whatever, man. You just don't, don't say no.
Time, right?
Yeah, it takes time, and then you just do, and you have to be obsessed with it, and you have to sacrifice, and you got to tell yourself, I'm just gonna, this is my thing. I love it so much that I will be humiliated for it on occasion because I know that eventually I'll figure this out. And, and then you just make a living. And that's the thing. There's a lot of tiers in comedy where you can just make a living and a good living, but you just have to stay. You just can't quit, really, is the biggest thing.
Okay. I'm glad you said that because that led me into my next question is, have you ever bombed so bad where you're like, all right, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm humiliating myself. I mean, and do you need to, as a comedian, get to that point? Or is it just about confidence?
Yeah. I never wanted to quit because I felt like, awesome. It's such an addiction because you're chasing the high for the next show. So I tell you, I like it when I have a bad set once in a while because I know that next set is going to be murderous because I'm so mad that I did this thing I shouldn't have done. I opened too strong. I shouldn't have done the new thing so early. I should have waited. I shouldn't have picked on that guy. He was insecure. He was with that woman. I shouldn't have done this thing. I was talking too fast. So I like it when I could do an inventory of like what I did, what I need to do better. And so that's how I always approach comedy. If I have a bad set, then I just say, all right, and I really look at what I did wrong, and I really analyze it and say, all right, and I switch it up, and then I think, because like crowd work, I've learned this recently in the past year, where I'm good at it, but it only really works when I do it like 5 minutes in. Like some comics will just grab the microphone and be like, hey, where are you from? What's going on? And they just go after people. And sometimes if I haven't established that I'm a good comic and I can write jokes and I can land them, then the audience doesn't give it to me as much. But if I wait and just do like a little mini set and then kind of play with them, I can really bring them in and direct them towards any joke I want to direct them to. And so you just learn stuff, every time you get up.
Has there ever been a joke that you've told that you wish you didn't tell, that didn't go over well?
Oh, absolutely.
And tell us that joke now, it bombs, right?
Well, I don't think any of my jokes bomb. I just think sometimes the audience regret. No, I don't. I'm not. I mean, yes and no. I feel like this is interesting. I had a show one time, and it was like it was kind of like a alumni show, and it was for all the African American elite, like students and faculty and staff for like MIT, Harvard, Yale, all this stuff. It was all these like high-end black college kids and professors and alumni and everything. Okay. And then they were doing this show, and it was like it was all these comics like Godfrey and Will Savance, all these great black comics. They did like Def Jam and stuff, and they needed a white guy. And so they needed one white guy on the show. That guy happened to be me. And so I get on stage, and I'm doing great, and I'm killing it because I came up through black rooms, and so I know how to play or whatever, even though it is a different kind of audience. And so I'm on stage, and I did this joke where I talk about being Native American, and and it's I talk about like the struggles and everything, and I did this one joke, and I said it's like the Native Americans were killed, enslaved, the land was stolen from them, but at least black people got to travel. And as soon as I said that, the whole audience, and they booed me for like 3 minutes. And it was like I was doing like an Elvis like kung fu moves, and I was trying to like embrace it and everything. And so it was bad, but
no laughs at all.
Here's the kicker. And so 3 weeks later, I did that joke on Showtime for a show called White Boys in the Hood. It was white comics doing black jokes in front of black audiences. And so, and it got an applause break. And it was one of the best parts of my set. And so it was just one of those things where, I could have said I did that joke there and it bombed and I got booed or whatever. And then, but I did it on television when it mattered the most, and it did well. So it's like, you just never, you just
different
never know.
Audience.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. And I remember when you had done that special too. Thank you for sharing that story there, Dustin. Which kind of leads us to now we're in an age, and it just seems like it has just jumped on us over the last 5-10 years or whatever. But cancel culture, and how important I think it is for comedians to stay relevant and stay on top of what's going on. And there's also got to be a balance between political stuff, and that's something I appreciate that you had said. First, do you stay away from? Do you just kind of touch the edge of political stuff or things that maybe might be too taboo to talk about, just to let people know, like, hey, I'm aware of it, but I don't need to go there. I mean, where are you at with that, Dustin?
Yeah, it just depends on the gig itself, really. I think that's really depends on how far you want to go. And if you're going to be an edgy comic and you're going to go across the line, then you have to be willing to take the bomb. You got to be willing for people to be offended. And so know that going in. Like, you can't be surprised. Like, I wasn't really surprised when I got booed on that show, because I was like, what am I doing? After I said it, I was like, what are you doing? But it was like, wrong. Read the room, bro. But it's like, I did a show the other night, and it was like a lot of Gen Zers in the crowd. And I went kind of heavy and went race and started talking about some stuff. And I realized they just can't comprehend it like Gen Xers can. Like, we grew up at a time where we could handle kind of edgy humor, and they really can't process it like, older people can. And so I realized that, where I was just like, after I did that show, I was like, some of that material it didn't land, because they just weren't, it was like a little mini protest in the audience. And so I think you just have to know that, like, certain audiences and certain gigs it's appropriate for, and then some, they're just, you have to go about it a different way.
I think they're afraid to laugh because they know, like, if they laugh, then you're accepting it. And it's like, but to me, it's like, if funny is funny, right? Yeah. If somebody, and I've said some stuff or heard some things before, and like, but I can appreciate the craft.
You can cringe and laugh at the same time. People worried about getting judged by the person next to them.
But I do think comics have a responsibility, and the responsibility is, if you do want to make Gen Zers laugh, or older crowds laugh, or more people that are against you politically laugh, or whatever, then you have to craft it better. And that's what I've realized. It's like, because the next night, once again, I learned, and I did it was a bunch of young people, and I had a great set, because I figured out how to feed it to them. And that's what comics don't do sometimes. It's like, you can say whatever you want, but you just have to craft it in a way that is not, so in their face. Sometimes you back up a little bit, maybe you make it more personal. Like, you have to do the work to kind of, like, feed it to them, instead of just sandblasting it the same way every time to every audience. I think each audience should be kind of, you cultivated, and kind of, you figure it out as, like, how are they going to be able to take this? And I think you could say the same things you're saying, just sometimes you got to switch it up a little bit with different audiences.
It's important to do that. And again, it goes back to exactly what you said at the beginning when we started interviewing. You just got to know the crowd, and you got to know what, am I going to walk out here alive, or am I going to go out there and try new jokes? When is the time to try new jokes?
I think you should always be trying something new. I try to do something new. Like, I just kind of like with my crowd work rule, I think about 5 minutes in. I think once you've got them, you're kind of in the middle. So it just depends. And then sometimes something will happen, and I'll just, off the top, I'll just kind of go into this new thing. It just really, it depends on the comedian and how you're feeling it. Your instinct should be, on point with when you should squeeze it in there. But we should always be trying to do something new.
I agree.
We were talking about the roast earlier. Is that somewhere to try some of the edgy materials? I think everybody knows the rules of a roast. And yet there's a lot of controversy surrounding the Kevin Hart roast.
Yeah, that's not really my thing. I could never be on the other end of a roast either. I just, I don't know, man. I just get too mean. There's a reason.
Take it personal? Would you take somebody saying?
No, but I'll go harder than you went. I'll tell you that right now.
Go for the jugular.
Like a rap battle.
I'll go after your grandma. I'll go after your whole family. Like, not. I mean, that's why I quit drinking. It's not the boxing. That's actually kept me, kind of disciplined. It's the, I quit drinking, which helped. But I don't know. I just feel like it's just not, and it's not something that I'm good at writing jokes like that. Like, I've written for some people and Lampanelli and some people. But I just feel like it's just not something that I really want to aspire to at all. It's not really my lane that I really want to get into.
So what would you? So since we bring it up, is there a lane that comedians can they obviously joke about politics, religion, relationships, marriage? Is there something that really they should just stay out away from, or just
can a joke go too far?
Yeah, there you go.
Can it be too soon to make a joke?
Yeah.
It can't be just, the political climate is definitely a hard one, but I found a way to do it. It's like I have a joke where, I talk about how I'm from Texas, but I live in California. And I say, I have a Californian on one shoulder and a Texan on the other. The Californian will be like, hey, you should drive a Prius and protect the environment. And then the Texan will be like, shut up, snowflake, get in the truck. And so it's,
exactly.
It's like I'm making fun of both, but I'm not really going so hard that it's like, so I try to do jokes that maybe make fun of both sides. And so, and some audiences really just want one-sided, politics and views and all that. But I think you could still get them if you play with yourself a little bit.
Well, I think, there's a lot of collaboration, I think, that goes, from what I hear, that goes on in roasts as well, working on jokes. But the goal of it is, from what I've seen on these roasts, is you want to be the guy that just puts the nail in the coffin. Like it wants to, and so everybody wants to outdo everybody else.
And that's the problem.
Should people, we were talking right before the show started about just as of late, Chelsea Handler is kind of backing up a little bit now. I'm not sure if you're hearing what she had said.
She said that Shane Gillis's joke, Kevin is so short, you'd have to lynch him from a bonsai tree. She said that joke was worse than rape. And so now there's backlash to her backlash. I mean, that's obviously hyperbole. But
I mean, it's a pretty well-crafted joke. I'm not gonna lie, but
it's funny to me.
Had Kevin rolling on the floor.
If Kevin, it's like I bet you everybody was looking at Kevin first.
Yeah,
and then he's laughing. Then it makes it okay. Even just now, like I started laughing right after you said that. And I'm like, am I gonna get in trouble for laughing?
Yeah, I mean, everything is funny. Everything is funny if you say it. If it's punched right and set up right. Here's my thing with the roast. It's like my problem with the roast. It's like you look at the Dean Martin roast. Those guys were friends. Half of them were drinking before the roast started. They're buddies. They know each other. My problem with the roast, a lot of people do not know each other. I don't think you should do a roast if you do not spend time with the person you're roasting. Mm-hmm. Like it needs to come from like, we pay dues together. I know your mom. Like we've hung out, we went drinking. Like if you don't have any sort of connection to the person, I feel then that's what it is. It's a guy just trying to make the edgiest joke so he gets all the viral attention. Instead of like the purpose of the roast is that I love you, I'm going to make fun of you, but in the end I love you.
Right.
Yeah, it's like you watch those Dean Martin roasts. Rickles will hammer everybody, then he'll be like, and then he'll just do this
and then give a kiss on the lips.
Yeah, he'll do a whole minute on how much he loves you and how much he's proud of you and all that stuff. And so that's what the roast is missing. Even the Comedy Central roast had a little more of that because it was a lot of the comedians at least knew each other.
Yeah.
All right. So if Netflix called you, Dustin, and they wanted you to roast one living celebrity right now, who would it be?
Probably you. I don't know.
See, I said celebrity. So
I would love to roast you, man.
I wanted to do a roast about me back when I don't know how old, I think I turned 50, and 50th, I was like, I want everybody to make fun of me. And I'm like, then I just more and more thought about it. I was like, man, I'm really egotistical if I think everybody has jokes about me.
Yeah.
But I would take it. I would understand it. I was explaining a little bit, and Dustin, you know this because with my short time touring, or I wouldn't say touring, opening up for you a couple of times, I kind of went, when I was much fatter, I went with the physical humor and, the self-deprecating humor and, the scars that I had on my face, and that kind of thing. And it made me, like, if you make fun of yourself first, nobody else can make fun of you. That was really my shield. Then I lost a lot of weight. And there was a time, honestly, I felt like I'm just not funny anymore. And then I had some comedians that would come through on my show, and they would tell me, "It's like, look, you're either funny or not funny. And if you made people laugh, you can make people laugh." And I never really thought about it. I felt like I lost my gig when I lost weight, which was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? My angle.
I understand that because it's like, you get used to something about yourself being funny. But back to the roast thing, I think,
please do, yeah.
I think I think usually people that deserve a roast are people that are too full of themselves and can't take a joke. So somebody like Kid Rock would be fun, just because he needs to be like, he needs to make fun of himself a little bit more, because he's gotten too just
he used to be real funny too.
Yeah, his music's hilarious. Like and so
back in the day.
Anybody like that, Eminem, anybody that's just intense, I would love to.
Like
Steven Seagal is who I think of.
Yes,
Wouldn't you love to see a roast?
Yeah, that's a guy. I mean, he's the perfect one. I mean, he would just,
I agree.
try to fight somebody after with his stupid penguin hand thing he does.
At the end, the roastie gets to have the last laugh. They have the last word. They get to be as vicious as possible, and they come loaded with jokes. But what would Steven Seagal do? He was trying to break your arms, right?
Yeah.
He would try to. If you ask anybody when he hosted Saturday Night Live,
the worst host ever.
He said they were the worst, and he didn't get any of it. And those are the people you want to make fun of.
The jokes went right over his ponytail.
Talk about a guy that can't make fun of himself for being overweight. Exactly. Let me tell you, that's a guy who thinks he's still like 20 and in shape. But
wears muumuus.
Yeah. But back to what you were saying, Mitch, too, about like and I think with you, it's like, I think part of, your material should be about losing the weight and just the journey and how people treat you different. People think you're more fun when you're big. People think, it's like, you have an agenda when you're big. Eat, like you have something to do all day. And then when you stop eating, you're like, what am I going to do with myself? And so you just find ways that are funny about being a thinner lifestyle. And so, and sometimes it is hard to let go of stuff,
Yeah, the things that you were so used to use as your go-to. You gotta find new go-tos, right?
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, that's why like working clean for me has been good, because it's like I can't just rely on certain jokes, that get a bang and a pop or whatever. I have to rewrite material or write new material for that particular gig I'm doing. But yeah, it's been good. It's been good to force myself to kind of go somewhere else in my comedy.
One thing that I do appreciate about you is, Dustin, is that you did give up alcohol. And if this is too personal, I totally can understand why. But hey, we're talking comedy, so nothing can be too personal. But did you ever have a time where you relied on alcohol to kind of give you that extra, hey, I'm going to, have a few to get up on stage? Was that something that was ever an issue for you? Because you did mention that you gave it up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I thought I was, and what's funny about that is like, I'd get drunk and then just get on stage, and I would think I killed. And then I would watch a video and be like, oh no. And I would just we were repeating jokes and like slobbering on stage. just because you think you killed. I've had fist fights on stage because I was like drunk and went after somebody and they came on stage, and it was before people were filming everything. So I didn't even get to go viral.
9-year-olds too, right?
9-year-olds.
Yeah, I just got a black eye.
Kicking your butt.
Hey, I'm not Cat Williams. I don't fight 9-year-olds.
He got slam knocked out. I'm proud of you, Dustin, there, because it's a hard thing. But then you kind of think, all right, it's the alcohol that's kind of making me fun. I've talked to you about that.
Yeah, it was the drugs, too. The drugs were in there too.
Yeah, and drugs. Yeah. I wanted to glaze over that because I wanted you to say that and not me. Another thing that's very interesting about Dustin is that his wife. Oh, excuse me, his woman is, I don't know, what do I say, your girlfriend?
20 years, we've been together 20 years. Yeah, we live together. It's like, whatever.
20 years. She's a comedian as well. Yeah. Very funny.
She is. She's very funny.
Is she there with you right now?
She's walking the dogs in the woods, and I'm here talking to you.
You're a bit, and I'm so sorry. You're performing this week when we're taping this. You're at Big Bear right now?
No, we just got away for the weekend.
Oh, okay.
We like to come after
it even better.
The holiday, so we're just here up in, it's somewhere Idlewood. It's near Big Bear, so it's real good flag.
Oh wow.
Yeah. See, I thought, that makes this so much better, man. Wow, thank you for taking time out of your time off to even talk to us. That makes me feel really, really nice. The Mount Rushmore of comedy. Now, you mentioned some names already. Who would be up there on that tribute wall for you?
Yeah, it's interesting. Everyone does, some sort of Mount Rushmore. Yeah, I think me personally, I would go Stephen Wright, because I felt like he taught me how to write jokes. Like, I feel like I was obsessed with I Have a Pony, and I listened to that over and over and over. I just think nobody makes me laugh like that early Stephen Wright stuff. It's just so obscure and so weird, and it's just beautifully crafted. And then he's so like ridiculous with his, with his delivery. And I love Stephen Wright. I think Don
Bucky
Rickles.
Goldstein. I always think Bucky Goldstein.
Bucky Goldstein.
I love
Jewish
Bucky
cowboy. Yeah, it's so funny. He's the best.
Rickles is incredible.
He's like, my mom had me in a C-section, so now when I leave the house, I go out the window. Like just great. It's just great stuff. He's just it's so quick. It's so sharp. I would go Don Rickles just because I feel like Don Rickles he just created the art of playing with the audience and being edgy, but knowing when to kind of come back on the line. George Carlin would definitely be somebody who would be in there. I got to talk to George Carlin. I saw him live like 5 times. Like every time I watched George Carlin, I was like, oh man, I'm doing this wrong. And I would just write and just rework my act. And I really felt like he was the guy. And I would say Joan Rivers would be in there. I think Joan Rivers is, just a big influence. And it's funny, Leah's our first date. She took me to Joan Rivers, and we were in the audience. It was a really small club, and we got to kind of see her in a small audience, and that was amazing. But her early work was fantastic. And I know she kind of became this thing that was, kind of, with the Tonight Show stuff and the fashion stuff or whatever. Yeah. But her early stand-up is incredible. And I feel like for female comedians, too, she really kind of was a pioneer and was like, really kind of taking it a little further than female comics had before. But I think 4 is too small. I would throw Pryor in there as somebody as well.
Yeah, you got to.
I gotta throw a black guy in there, especially after I throw my joke.
Bill Cosby.
I love that.
I gotta have one black guy in there.
Do you
But as a performer, I feel like you can heckle if it's not mean spirited. If you feel like there's something inside of your body that's just my comedy's making you just yell out something, that's okay as long as you're not being mean. Like it's when they say you're not good or you suck or things like that. That's when it's out of line. Because sometimes you can make that gold. If somebody's like sloppy and they say something, I can really turn that into a really funny moment. But just don't be mean. That's the number 1 rule. And number 2, don't talk to each other. Like I would rather you talk to me than talk to each other while I'm on stage. That will make me snap. It's like because this is like it's not TV. Like I'm a live person. I can hear you. I can see you. So do not talk to each other during the show. Like that's the biggest one. Obviously, phone calls and things like that. But just when you look over and there'll be a table full of people having a full conversation that has nothing to do with you. And that's the rudest thing you could do. That's the number 1 rudest thing. And then being mean on top of that, forget it. Because sometimes they'll get mad that you said something. Like you ruined their night. Meanwhile, your dreams, of getting on stage, they're just talking through it. Thank you, buddy. You too. That guy. Yeah. No, I appreciate you. Let's see, week of June 17th. I'd probably be. I think I'm on a cruise ship. You can catch me on CBS Comics Unleashed. They'll be re-airing my episode July 7th, so you can catch that. And I'm out there. I have a tour, but I think it's before the 17th. So, but we'll be in Fort Worth.
Listen, Byron Allen to me is one of Byron Allen is? Okay, he started as a comedian, which is crazy too. Like when he was 19 years old or whatever. this guy's made immediate empires. I mean, and he's got this deal to take over the Colbert Show with these Comics Unleashed. How much what can you tell us about that show? Like, is it cringy somewhat? Because I'm sorry, Dustin, but there are some times where it's looking like one thing that I even told you today, I'm not going to set you up for jokes. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm saying? And you had to deal with radio DJs. That's bad enough, I know, but that's the feeling I get from that show.
That's unfortunate that you feel that way, because I feel like every interview I see on the Tonight Show is the same thing. It's just set up for them to say their funny story. It's the exact same thing. It's no more organic than that show. I think it's a beautiful platform. It's comedians get to basically showcase themselves as comedians, and he gets the softballs to kind of set up the jokes, but it's like we still get to do our jokes on television, and I think it's a fun kind of environment, and I hope more people kind of get on board with it.
Technology. Dustin Chaffin, you can check out. I'm going to go now to promote your website because I need to make sure.
Should we do this again? Should we do it again when I get back to LA?
Yeah, let's do it one more time. Yeah. And you tell everybody where they can find more of Dustin Chaffin outside of Comics Unleashed.
You could just, I got a website, dustinchaffin.com. You can check out all my stuff on there. I was one of the last people to do the Mark Maron, WTF podcast. You can hear my whole story on that podcast, which I'm very proud of. Man. And, just, add Dustin _ Chaffin. I never get it right. Instagram and all that stuff. Yeah. Thanks for having me, man. This is great.
Thank you,
sorry
man.
about the technical stuff, but
we'll work it out, or not even work. This is what's beautiful about this and disgusting at the same time is all the technology. So what are you watching this week, Travis?
I'm gonna watch some Tubi. I'm just gonna check out some comedies on Tubi.
And any particular star you're watching on Tubi, or maybe any particular actor?
Well, actually, I watched. It's called Man of the Year with Robin Williams. It's a Barry Levinson movie. It's just pretty prescient, actually, for a movie that came out 20 years ago about a late night talk show comedian who gets elected president. You ever heard of it? You ever seen it?
I remember.
It's actually billed as a comedy thriller, so it's a weird genre because it's a lot of jokes. It's Robin Williams, obviously, but it's like a thriller. It has like conspiracy theories. It's about voter integrity. It's way ahead of its time.
That. Yeah. I remember that.
But I watched it on Tubi last night.
Now, what does Chris Noth play in that movie?
He's not in that one, but
I can't watch that.
You checked out then? Okay.
No, I did see it
out with that guy a lot.
Chris Noth, you're a nothing?
Yeah.
You really?
Yeah, quite a bit. He had an Italian friend that had this
Wait a minute.
restaurant.
Hold on.
Why
didn't we lead with this? Why didn't we know this?
Dustin, are you telling the truth? Chris
Why would I
Noth?
lie? Chris Noth.
Is it
the
Noth
guy
or
from
Noth?
Noth. Which one are you
Noth.
talking about?
Yeah,
Chris
the guy
Noth.
from Sex and the City.
Yeah.
The actor.
Are you kidding me? I never knew this. Hold on a second. This whole
We just struck gold.
we have started the Chris. How do we say Noth or Noth?
Noth.
Okay.
Noth.
We have started the Chris Noth fan club, and we are Nothings.
The Nothings.
We're the Nothings.
He's just been like a big part of our show since episode 1, and now we have an exclusive. You got somebody who's hung out with him. Can you give us any kind of details?
Yeah, tell us everything.
We're thirsty for information.
Well, I'm going to make sure the internet connection works. Very adult. I'll say that. I'm not going to out him here.
Oh man!
But,
okay,
let's just say my party days were a lot of fun with that guy.
I knew it. I knew that guy. I knew Noth. I know he partied.
Well, he had a friend who had an Italian restaurant in Manhattan, and they started to do comedy there. And so it was like a little comedy show, like on Thursdays or whatever. And he would always be there. And so we'd be on stage just doing comedy, and he's laughing. He was always in the front row. I think it was called Pasquale's or something. I forget what it was called. But he was always there. So he would just hang out with us after the shows. He would like tell us stories about acting and women or whatever. It was fantastic. He was a great dude. But we spent a lot of time with that guy.
Mr. Big Days or before Sex?
Yeah, he was. It was Mr.
He was
Big
already
Days.
big time.
So he was huge. Yeah, he was
a
big. It was like So it was a big deal that he was talking to us and stuff because he was on top for sure.
We are trying since we started this to get him on the show. That's our goal.
Okay. Well, I'll help you out. I'll send the information I have on the restaurant, and say I hung out with a comedian, Dustin Chaffin. He said that he used to hang out with you at this Italian restaurant. He would love to have you on the show or something. You know, well, I'll see what I can do. We'll figure it out.
Do you see how amazing this man is?
This is awesome. This is perfect.
This not a setup at all. This is random.
Yeah.
This is so wild to us.
Goosebumps, man. Goosebumps.
Dustin, why do you stop giving me reasons to make me think you're so awesome? Because you absolutely are. Thank you for joining us for today.
Thanks,
and the technical issues will work out. By the time it gets on there, you'll have we'll make it look beautiful. Yeah. AI will make you so funny. Even Byron Allen will real laugh at your jokes.
Or Byron Allen.
I love Byron Allen. I really do. And that's not
everything but poor. Anything but poor.
Anything but poor. You're right. Absolutely. Dustin, thanks for joining us, man. And
thank you guys.
Let's keep in touch. You are a friend of the show. Anytime you want to come on and talk about anything, we'd love to have you back, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay, it says 99% uploading. I don't want to mess up this thing.
You're fine. Yeah, when you hang up.
Am I good? Okay.
Yeah, you're good to go. You can leave, or you can listen to us babble on about how cool you are and how cool you were.
Chris Noth. We talk about Chris Noth.
Chris Noth.
Noth.
What's so awesome about this is we know how to say his name.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. I'm pretty sure.
I'm the one that kept on saying Noth, right?
Noth, because we did a bit with Sloth World and we rhymed his name with Sloth. And we said Noth, and I'm like, that didn't sound right.
And you were right the entire time.
Noth, yeah.
And every week we promote one of his movies and, of course, Tubi as well. So if you do you know anybody at Tubi by the chance?
Yeah. I probably do. Let me look at my phone.
He probably does. He's very connected.
I know everybody.
All right. Thank you again. We'll let you get back to your time off. That's been how freaking awesome was this? This is a great time.
I mean,
it turned into this great conversation. I really appreciate it.
What a serendipitous interview. Thanks, Dustin.
Well, I have one.
Take care.
I have one.
And that's what we are, right? Have we figured out how to say that yet? I have one. You have one.
Yeah.
Opinions are like these guys.
Yeah, opinions are like these guys.
Yeah, we'll figure that part out as well. The marketing boys. We'll get Byron Allen on it, and he'll give us direct answer. Hey, that's it for this episode of Opinionish. It comes out a new episode every single Wednesday. Look for us on social media, and of course, you can always go to opinionishpodcast.com, find out more details, and listen to other episodes as well. That's it. Y'all be good. Take care, and I will see you when I look at you. Bye-bye, everybody. Goodbye, everybody.